Hello, everybody, and welcome to Comic Sports Hub. So, as a Bruins fan, I'm not very happy today. But if there's any Toronto Maple Leafs fans, I can assume that there will be. I, I'm guessing that they're pretty happy right now because John Tavares just signed with them for 7 years, $11 million per year, which is cheaper than what we were really expecting. Some reports saying like 12 million upwards. Luckily for them, it's not that case. It's only 11 million, which is only the best players are going to be paid more than $10 million per year. But the cap has rise. It's most likely going to continue to rise, and he's one of the best players, one of the best free agents ever to leave the team, the original team. Unfortunately, for Islanders fans, he left New York. But honestly, I think this may be for the best. I think it may be a good idea for the Islanders to actually rebuild. But that's besides the point. I can talk about that later in a different video. This is more about Toronto and John Tavares. So what does this mean for the Atlantic Division? Well, Toronto and Tampa are just going to be battling out for the next 3, 4, 5 years for the 1-2 spot in the Atlantic. Yeah, I'm a Boston Bruins fan. I kind of want him to go to Boston, but I knew most likely it wasn't going to happen. We would have to trade either or both David Krejci or David Baggett, and those are both hard contracts to move early. And it was just we didn't really have the cap space or anything, so I had a feeling that wasn't going to happen. My second hope was that he would have went to San Jose out of the conference. I mean, San Jose is my favorite team in the Pacific. I'm not saying that I'm a fan or anything, but if there were two teams playing in the Pacific and San Jose was one of them, I'd be rooting for San Jose. So it's unfortunate. I was really hoping that he went to San Jose, if not Boston. But this is tough for Atlantic. I'm pretty sure that the top 4 spots are already panning out for the next few years with Boston. Let's put it in order most likely. For the hell of it, let's put Toronto in first place, then Tampa, then Boston, and then Florida. I believe that the 1-2 spot is interchangeable, the same as the 3-4 with Florida and Boston. Either way can be flipped, or Toronto and Tampa, those two can be flipped. But man, this is monumental for Toronto because back in the day, everybody thought, hey, that kid's from Toronto, he's going to want to play for Toronto. But that wasn't really the case because Toronto's management has not been very good until now, I guess. So players didn't really want to go to Toronto because they didn't feel like they could win in Toronto. Now they can. They have John Tavares, Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, Nylander, but we can assume that he may be traded out because he's a restricted free agent. He was about 60 points per game in the past 2 years. In fact, last year he had 61 points, 20 goals, and then the year before that he had 61 points, 22 goals. So yeah, and he only missed one game from the past 2. His his first season was in 2015. 22 games played, 13 points, 6 goals. But he's a restricted free agent. You can expect him to get $60 million per year within that range. I just don't think that's going to happen with Toronto. Most likely he's going to be traded for a defender because all they really have is Morgan Rielly, who's the only above average or pretty good defensive player is Morgan Rielly. Can he win the Norris? I say that as an outside chance. Considering that all the offense is going to be go through the forwards and whatnot, I'm going to say that he's a decent chance to have his best season yet, points-wise. But winning the Norris, most likely not. But this is just crazy because, like I was saying before, that Toronto wants a destination for free agents to go, for players to actually want to go there to win. That's completely changed. Considering that, again, I can assume that William Nylander will be moved out for either prospects or a cheaper defensive man. And next year, Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner are going to be coming up for contracts. So they're most likely not going to be able to sign any other big free agents because cap-wise they're kind of stuck for the next 6 years or so. We can assume, uh, with Tavares signing a 7-year contract, you can assume Austin Matthews is going to be signed for an 8-year contract, same as Mitch Marner, within probably at least 6 years. Both of them you can assume have at least a $6 million cap hit. But points Toronto stacked. I mean, let's just look at the points per game players. So John Tavares is tied in all in current day players as ninth. He has a 0.928 points per game, which is behind Sidney Crosby, Vanny Malkin, Alex Ovechkin, Patty Kane, Steven Stamkos, Nicholas Backstrom, Joe Thornton, and Ryan Getzlaf. So he's definitely without a doubt one of the top 10 forwards in the NHL. Possibly a top 5 player altogether. I know that kind of contradicts what I just said about the top 10 forward, but he's most likely a top 5 player, if not top 10. Looking at his stats the past 3 years, he had 84 points this year with 37 goals, 66 points last year in 77 games, 28 goals, and then 70 points in 78 games with 33 goals. So he's obviously an extremely good player. I'm annoyed because he's going to be in my division. They'll see Boston win the Stanley Cup. It's going to be hard going against Tampa and Toronto. And then Florida's on the come up. If they want to win it, it's going to be in the next couple of years, which is really, really hard. Instead of, again, you have Toronto and Tampa. But what does that mean for the other teams like Buffalo, Montreal, Ottawa, and Detroit? Well, luckily for them, they're kind of in a rebuild. Buffalo should be coming up soon. I don't think they're going to be making the playoffs this year, but most likely I can assume that they're going to be making it next year. And I know that the Atlantic Division is kind of viewed as a lesser division, but in the upcoming years, I don't think that's going to be that way because you can assume that Boston's going to be a playoff team. I mean, I won't be surprised if they miss it this year because of let's say, I mean, most of the roster is built up of younger players and then veterans. You can say that Boston overperformed this year, and I would agree. So I wouldn't be surprised if they miss out on the playoffs because again the rookies played really well. Can you expect them to be that way? David Pastrnak had a very good season. Marchand had a very good season. Bergeron was having one of his best seasons ever until he got injured. But arguably, yeah, he had his best season. But I don't know. Can Tuukka Rask do it? Again, I'm somewhat a supporter of Tuukka Rask. I don't know what we would get for trading him. But I don't know if we can win the cup now, to be honest with you, in the next 3 years. I hope we can. Obviously, I'm a Bruins fan, but it's going to be a lot harder with John Tavares being in our division. Toronto's already a great team. Then there's Tampa. I don't know. But, I don't know. Does this make them the favorites for next year or this upcoming year? I would have to say yeah. I mean, there's probably the top 4. I would say Pittsburgh, Toronto, Tampa, in no order, and then I'm going to say Winnipeg. Those are my top 4 to win the cup. Or most likely to win the cup, in my opinion. Can Boston do it? Definitely, without a doubt, if the rookies come back even better. But Toronto, in my opinion, there's no way that they don't end up with a cup within the next 5 years, possibly more than one. But thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to share this video. Thank you, and goodbye.